will be no questions or comments between candidates, and please respect the timer so that every candidate has an equal chance to speak. Audience rules: there will be no questions, no interruptions, and no recording during the forum because we are live streaming and recording and we want it to be impartial. Lake Township is a growing semi-rural area with approximately 30,000 residents in northern Stark County, and each of these questions was designed to elicit candidates' positions, plans, and visions for Lake Local schools. Lake Local has a strong, positive reputation, especially academically. It's seen as a well-performing, stable district with high graduation rates, strong test performance, and good community support. For families in the area, it's often considered one of the better public school options. However, like many high-performing districts, there are trade-offs: growth pressures, funding limitations, and fewer resources per student compared to richer districts. In November, we have 5 candidates vying for 3 open seats. The school board candidates are David Barrett, who's the incumbent, Adam Doan, incumbent, Jeff Finnefrock, Nikki Johnson, Caitlin Spano. So we'll begin with opening statements, 2 minutes each, about who you are and why you are running for the Lake School Board, starting with David Barrett.
Okay, thank you. My name is David Barrett. I have lived in the district for 28 years. I am the parent of 3 Lake graduates, Oriana in 2016, Caitlin in 2017, and David in 2025. So the reason I'm running is to pay it forward. I believe our children have benefited from the K through 12 experience in this school district. We'll never be able to repay the genuine gratitude that we have for the faculty and staff in the high school in terms of challenging our children and the quality education that they've received. So my goal is for current Blue Streaks and future Blue Streaks to have the same opportunities that our children have had and flourished in terms of what they've gained in being students in the Lake School District.
Good. Thank you. Adam Doan.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Adam Doan. I'm currently on the school board. I'm currently the president of the Board of Education here at Lake. I have had that opportunity for the last 5 years to serve the community. I was originally appointed in 2020, right in the heart of COVID in June of that year. Had the opportunity to then be elected for the first time in November of 21 and had a great opportunity to be able to serve with the other board members, some of which are here tonight here as well. Serving on the board is an honor and a privilege. Very similar to David, have let multiple children go through the district. AJ, Lisa, my oldest son, graduated in 2024. Ava, our daughter, is a senior this year, and Michael is a freshman. Lisa and I are both 97 Lake grads ourselves, and we had the opportunities to pick up and move and for jobs and go other places, and we opted to not do that because we believe in this district so much and the quality of education that we're getting for our children and for everyone else. I do believe that there's going to be some challenges coming up ahead for the district in the form of funding, but what we really all need to understand is that we are a district, as Chip had called out, that is built on excellence. We have the best performance. We have a great superintendent, a great treasurer, and great staff overall. So I'm seeking your re-election so we can continue that excellence and pay it forward as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff Finnefrock.
Good evening. I'm Jeff Finnefrock. Thanks for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. I'm married to Jennifer. I lived in Lake School District for the past 18 straight years. I'm the father of 8 children, 7 daughters, and a son. I've had a child enrolled in Lake local schools over the past 18 straight years. I have 4 Lake graduates. This experience matters. My children and your children are the reason I'm running for Lake School Board. I've coached and I've taught here. I've volunteered here. I've served here. I'm committed to the success of Lake. And the success of Lake is measured in the success of our children, mine and yours. Equipping and preparing them to compete in a much bigger community than Lake Township. We're in a global marketplace, and we need to prepare them for that reality. We need to measure success with students as a sole focal point. What gets measured gets done, and I'm here to CEO of a small business that helps veterans and their families find employment, so I understand the process of equipping people for careers. And if I didn't make the right decision or produce results, the business didn't last. I have served on other school, church, and charitable service boards, but to be clear, I'm asking to serve you and not just to hear my voice. I've heard my voice more than enough in my life, and this is a position my wife solely and very strongly endorses. To be clear, I'm here to serve you by reflecting your voice, to be a true servant leader. I've helped organizations understand where they are, where they want to go, and the plan on how to get there. I'll do the same for Lake. Since July 1, I've walked the streets of Lake Township, knocking on hundreds of your doors. I've met with you, I've talked with you, and more importantly, I listened. I look forward tonight to sharing what I heard and what I plan to do about it.
Thank you. Nikki Johnson.
Good evening, and thanks to Chip and the Lake Chamber for hosting another opportunity for voters to learn about the candidates for school board. And to be sure, this is the last one, correct? By way of brief introduction, I've lived in Lake Township for going on 19 years. My husband Glenn and I moved here in 2007 after I completed doctoral studies at Boston University and accepted a full-time faculty position at Mount Union. We have 3 children currently in Lake schools, 11th, 9th, and 5th grade. Sorry to call you out, buddy, but my youngest is here. I'll note that my husband, Glenn, teaches theology at St. Vincent St. Mary High School, and because of his employment, we could send our kids there for a private education at almost no cost. But we are happy to choose Lake local schools for their education. We're a band and band boosters, theater, karate, scout. And we're active members at Holy Spirit Catholic Church, and we deeply love this community. I'm running for school board because I feel called to the work as a natural next step in my long commitment to education. I'm the only full-time career educator on the ballot for the Board of Education in November, and beyond that, I'm a longtime advocate for education through my teaching, publications, and public speaking. I bring vast leadership experience to the table based on my roles as current chair of my department and as chair, director, and member of several committees and task forces and programs over the years. Last year, I was elected by my colleagues to the Faculty Governance Board, and in that work, I'm entrusted as the faculty representative to President's Council and the Board of Trustees. I'm certified in conflict resolution. I teach courses in religious studies, civic engagement, and community building. I bring deep commitments to collaboration and to clear, consistent communication in all of my work, and that's my pledge to serving on the school board should I earn your confidence and your vote for that role. Thank you.
Thank you. Caitlin Spano.
Good evening. I want to thank the Chamber for having us here tonight. My name is Caitlin Spano. I have been a resident of Hartville for the last 6 years. I graduated from Field in 2006, which is right next door, so I grew up basically in Hartville. My husband is a Lake grad from 2006. We built our forever home in 2021, and between the two of us, we're a blended family. We have 4 boys. Kyler in 2nd grade, Kaden in 3rd grade, Gio in 4th grade, and Vito in 6th grade. So I have 4 children at the elementary school right now. They are all currently at basketball evaluations right now with my husband, so nobody is here right now. Thank goodness. I have a bachelor's degree from Kent State University in education, and I have over 12 years experience in accounting, which gives me ample experience to review finances and make pertinent decisions. I started my own construction company back in 2021 and now own 8 dump trucks that we broker out. As of 2024, it is a certified WBE, which is a women-owned business. I have been the PTO treasurer at the elementary for the last year and current. I have worked closely with the administration, staff, and students at the primary and elementary throughout the time my boys have been at Lake. My husband is on the youth football and baseball boards. We have donated countless hours of material to help both programs and schools. We want Lake to be the best place possible for our kids and yours to grow up in, which is why I'm running for school board. I believe it is important to have a level-headed mother involved in the decision-making regarding our children. Along with my degree in education and my background in accounting, I believe I can make a difference.
Thank you. As I stated, the questions will be to different candidates in random order, starting with question 1, and the first responder will be Adam Doan. The role of a school board of education in Ohio encompasses governance, policy setting, and oversight, while the superintendent serves as the chief executive officer of the district. This includes key duties such as approving budgets, hiring and evaluating the superintendent, approving curriculum, engaging in collective bargaining, representing community interest, and ensuring compliance with state and federal laws and regulations. From your perspective, pick 1 or 2 of these responsibilities to promote effective governance and explain your approach, how you approach effective governance while maintaining clear delineation between the board's role and the superintendent's executive responsibilities.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I'm going to take one quick step back. I served in the Army for 9 years. I've also been an executive for multiple manufacturing companies running businesses all across the world. There's a lot of things where you can tell individuals what to do, provide that guidance. Being on the school board is about collaboration and teamwork and working together in hand with your superintendent and treasurer. Two of the most important jobs that a school board had is placement of the superintendent and the identification and placement and retention of your treasurer. It's not about being the smartest person in the room. It's about getting the right team members on the team and then being able to successfully navigate it. So what I would propose that I will be doing is to continue, hopefully, what I've been doing the last 5 years, which is to help navigate those relationships. And it's really built on trust, because you have to empower those leaders to do their jobs, because they are a CEO and CFO within their respective business. And then the other side of that is communication. So it's communication internally amongst the board members, communication with the community, and communication with staff as a whole. So trust and communication are the foundations there.
Thank you, Adam. Nikki Johnson, same question to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, from the list provided in the question, I'll focus on 2 areas: approving curriculum and representing the community. So with regard to curriculum, as an educator myself, I've designed, revised, and assessed academic programs and courses, including building an academic program from scratch at Mount Union. As a board member, I look forward to serving the district with this particular area of expertise, although to be very clear, I have no interest in imposing my ideas on anyone. Our Lake teachers are phenomenal, so I can envision perhaps being a resource, maybe providing informal consultation, being a sounding board if and as needed. As an example, I'm already working with the district to connect Lake faculty with my university's Center for Data Science and Artificial Intelligence to provide training in teaching AI across academic areas, which will even better prepare Lake students for both careers and college after graduation. With regard to representing community interests, I have no personal agenda whatsoever in my desire to serve this community through the school board. I'd be wary of any candidate carrying a list of pet projects instead of understanding the school board's role as one of deep collaboration. I was elected to my role in shared governance at my university precisely because my colleagues know that I work to represent their collective views, not my own, when working with the administration and the board, and that I do so through careful listening and clear communication. These skills are essential for the collaborative and public-facing work of the school board.
Thank you. Jeff Finnefrock, same question to you.
I've lived my life by a standard: if you see a need, do something about it. Work hard and serve other people. Treat them how you'd want to be treated. As I looked at the landscape of what our school and community are facing, I see needs. I want to do something about it and determined that my corporate and interpersonal skills were uniquely positioned to serve Lake regarding the headwinds we now face. Our taxes are up. Our state report card rating is down from 5 stars to 4.5 stars. We're in a global marketplace where local success is not enough. We've not been in compliance for the past 2 Ohio State report cards for the PBIS program. We're falling short regarding the fundamentals of behavior and addressing bullying and safety issues while our citizens aspire for a better community. Our enrollment is down, and we don't have open enrollment, yet we have 8% open capacity. These numbers and trends are going in the opposite directions. Are we getting the return on our rising tax dollar? Our tax structure will challenge us to do more with less, so it won't get easier. That's where executive management comes into play. Our commercial development and tax base is smaller than our neighbors. That needs to be addressed by our local government officials and business leaders to share in the burden. I don't see evidence of coordinated efforts between our schools and businesses. I'm working to bridge these gaps for a coordinated effort and dialogue, and I assure you I will do it as a team. Of the hundreds of citizens I've met and listened to at their doorsteps, they're asking for 2 things: relief and results. Delivering on these goals is far too important to fail.
Thank you. Caitlin Spano.
First off, I want to say that our new superintendent is doing a phenomenal job. Recently, he had to deal with the staff coach-led prayer misconception, along with being new at our district, which I believe was handled appropriately. As a board, we are there to make sure our district is following the law. He is there to make sure our staff and students are then following those policies and laws as well. As a policy-setting board, it is a must. As a policy-setting board, we must be a team and a community approach set in place by the board, not an individual effort or decision. As a board, we are there to make sure all policies in place follow state and federal law so the superintendent can do his job as executor to the best of his abilities. I would approach the issue of representing the community interest by ensuring the community voices are heard by the board relating to policy setting, curriculum, and oversight of financing, so that the public and parents feel they are represented. An open door policy for airing concerns should be the norm. We as a board should be as transparent as possible with our community so there is never a question or concern. However, that is not to say all concerns would result in change. Federal and state guidelines applicable to public schools cannot be changed, but might require patience and out-of-the-box thinking to address the needs and concerns of all children in the district. We must do what is best for all of the students, not just individuals. But we need to keep ourselves at a distance and remain in check when it comes to implementing. We are not there to implement, we are there to set the standards for our district and rely on our superintendent to make sure we are in compliance and handling the day-to-day operations.
Thank you. David Barrett.
So, kind of parlaying off of what Adam said, I've put a military uniform on. I served in the United States military, so I understand the cohesiveness of being part of a unit or a group. I've also been in executive leadership for over 35 years, running companies and reporting to board of directors. From an advisory role and oversight role, that is what a board does. Our most important thing that we did is we picked our leader. We picked our CEO of our school system. We made the right choice. A charismatic person, the right fit for the job, who has a vision. And while we're actually focusing on school performance, 4.5 and Lena 5 stars, we are the highest performing school district in Stark County for 10 years running. So parlay that into your business, sports team, we're the best in this area. And he has a plan, and he has a treasurer who actually is, I call him the A-team. She is the best at what she does. And spending money effectively and efficiently is what our tax base wants us to do and what we need to do. We have challenges. We need to get 5 people that are like-minded, that have a passion for the school system, that are able to sit in a room and make decisions based on what's best for our students and our faculty and our staff. I'm not going to generate policy. I'm not here to dictate policy. I'm here to actually support the people that are in the schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question will be starting with Jeff Finnefrock, and it's such as this. Sensitive issues such as budgeting, or as is already brought up, staff or coach-led prayer and curriculum decisions often generate strong opinions within the community and differing viewpoints that can lead to divisiveness. As a board member, how would you ensure the district's actions remain compliant with state and federal laws while also making fair and balanced decisions that take into account the diverse perspectives of area residents?
I'm so glad you asked this question. First of all, I follow all federal, state, and local law. I listen, as I've done with hundreds of you in these past months. I seek out subject matter experts to help me form my opinions, like those I have with local law enforcement, state and local education officials, and business and government leaders. I don't have all the answers. I will then have an open dialogue and debate with you and within the board. Open debate stretches ideas. It widens their scopes. If our dreams aren't just intimidating a little bit to us, they're not big enough. What I will have is an open broadcast live chat streams of all school board meetings. If it's needed for a simple forum like tonight, it's needed for every meeting. You won't need a petition, a form, a chat board to be heard. These are evidence of pent-up demand for open dialogue and transparency. I look forward to this being the norm. So I consider what's legal. I will listen to all viewpoints. I will process what I hear through the filter of my interpersonal and business experience. I'll consult subject matter experts, and I'll assess what is best for the interests of our children. I'll prioritize it against other initiatives that the school is working on, and I understand the time, cost, and reward of the effort. This is return on investment of your tax dollars. I'll communicate with you, not by telemarketing campaigns or text blitzes, but face-to-face. I'll incorporate valid feedback, then we'll act together as a team, as people have said. We use public report cards to track and share on progress, timeliness, and impact of our major initiatives. We need to be accountable and open to you. Your school board needs report cards too.
Thank you. David Barrett.
So obviously we need to actually to ensure that we understand the state and federal laws when it comes to governing these areas. My personal belief doesn't dictate what is the decision of the board when it comes to the legal in terms of coach-led, school, teacher-led prayer. I believe we need to have open lines of communication and open dialogue. People have a right to speak their opinion, but at the end of the day, the board has to make a decision what's in the best interest of our students, following the laws that are established, and following that criteria when we make that decision. I believe that we need to be transparent with that decision so that everyone understands. It's not based on my personal belief, it's based on what we legally can do and what we can't do. Thank you.
Thank you. Caitlin Spano.
Lake is a public school. It is meant for everyone. As a public school, we must follow state and federal laws, which are there to ensure equality for all students who attend public schools. While some may disagree with certain issues, we must listen and address what is best for the district as a whole. We are here to create the best educational place for all of our students that attend our district. As a board, we are meant to collectively ensure we are following the law by reaching out to legal representatives and communicating back with our superintendent, who then provides the communication to our district. All of which can be done respectfully while considering the community's differing viewpoints. Different viewpoints can also lead to resolutions of issues. If everyone involved listens to and considers others' views. Divisiveness can lead to awareness of others' perspectives if approached in a thoughtful, non-aggressive manner. As a board member, I will be educated on the law and its application to the district's position. I would also ensure that the perspectives of both sides of an issue are heard and provide alternatives to an all-or-nothing attitude.
Thank you. Nikki Johnson.
So let me preface this. A key element in all of my college courses is teaching students about respect for difference, even if they ultimately disagree with someone over a particular issue, which of course they have the right to do. I teach my students that healthy democracy does not require agreement, but it does require a willingness to engage with difference and to try to understand where others are coming from and to be good critical thinkers as we determine our own perspectives on any given issue. If elected, I'd approach my work as a school board member with a general sense of trust in our paid legal counsel and the decisions made by our administration in careful and thoughtful consultation with that legal counsel. To be clear, I don't mean blind trust, but rather trust that's framed by the board's own intelligent and responsive attention to the issues. A district does not avoid costly and time-consuming lawsuits by disregarding hired legal expertise. That said, I understand that sometimes when decisions are made, people can feel deeply hurt by those decisions. When we take time to understand where that hurt is coming from and to explain decisions with care, compassion, and nuance, we often find we have more in common with one another than we think we do. The role of school board members and other community leaders in difficult moments is to listen, to communicate clearly, and to do all in their power to build bridges between people who might be feeling like they're on opposite sides of the issue. I urge voters to look closely at the communication skills and track records of the candidates because this is so central to being a conduit between the school district and the community.
Thank you. Adam Jones.
Yeah, so thank you again. I love this topic because those of us that have served on the school board realize that really the community only reaches out about hot topics to you. They don't call you on a Tuesday and say, just want to let you know, great job. So it's usually a lot of passion for their students, for their children, passion for mainstream topics that are out there, like the school prayer, all of those things. You'll find a very consistent message here for me. It's all about communication. It's about communication, being that community liaison. Any of you that follow me on social media know that I put my phone number, email, all my contact information out there consistently to help bridge those gaps so that we can sit down and have a cup of coffee or have a disagreement but collect the information. I've done that with many of you in this room, some of which we didn't have the same opinion, but we wanted to collect that proper information. Then, as what's previously been stated, is the next step of collecting that information, communicating to your superintendent, to the treasurer about those issues, and then seeking the district legal counsel to make sure that we're following the letter of the law. State law is not clear all the time on exactly what to do, how we're funded, how we need to act, and so it's part of our responsibility to navigate that and then be able to effectively communicate back to the community itself.
Thank you. Our third question, starting with Nikki Johnson. Given Ohio's proposed state budget changes that could result in funding cuts for the Lake Local School District, how would you as a board member respond to mitigate those impacts? Specifically, how would you approach advocacy efforts at the state level regarding the current financial formula for public schools, proposed changes to that funding structure, and the likely upcoming need for levy approval to maintain current funding levels in our community?
So, of course, this is going to be one of the biggest challenges that school boards will face in the near future. I think a strategic combination of action and work is required to address the challenge, and so I'll just name 4 areas where I think we could potentially focus some time and energy around fiscal responsibility and action. So the first involves a commitment, of course, to continual budget review, which we do already, guided by our, as has already been stated, highly competent district treasurer and the superintendent and the collective wisdom of the school board to ensure careful spending. And it goes without saying we do that in our homes also, right? The second is political advocacy at the state and federal levels. For 8 years, I've taught a course on lobbying, which culminates in taking students to Washington, D.C. to lobby on Capitol Hill. My experience and knowledge of lobby processes and strategy could serve our district well. The third is looking to grant funding, which could help to at least offset some costs. Since 2017, I've helped to secure around $200,000 in grants for my institution. There may be untapped grant funding possibilities, and I look forward to pursuing this avenue in consultation and cooperation with administrators and faculty. And then the fourth is more abstract, but I think crucial. I don't really know what it would look like exactly because I haven't done this before. I think there's real merit in working to enhance partnerships with between the school board, the trustees, the Hartville Village Council, the Chamber of Commerce. Strong schools draw more residents and businesses, which in turn boosts our local economy and our tax base. All hands on deck, strategic approach, I think, is what we need to pursue.
Thank you. Jeff Pennerbrook.
Legislation has already been passed to change rules of state funding even since this question was first posed to us. So we need to track what can and can't be done without to affect our funding and what the law will allow. The changes result in greater limits on how schools can raise revenue. So I'll talk a little bit about tax revenue here shortly. There's now county oversight, and levies must be more clear and transparent, which speak to some of my other issues I've talked about. Advocating to the state is a task which can be assigned to people with that expertise. It would be appreciated. Board membership is not a prerequisite for state lobbying, but it would be a valuable asset. Cost controls, expanding the corporate tax base are addressable needs. We can't assume that our current funding is inadequate. If I were to ask this audience if they're paying enough in taxes right now, I already know the answer because you've already told me. The board members are stewards of tax money, and we need to prove we've delivered on the ROI of what we've already been given. Do you know that 23.6% of our community's families are classified as financially disadvantaged? How can we ask for more when we need to ensure we're providing for the 1 in 4 local families, which are statistically proven that we've asked for more than enough? Tax requesters first need to tighten their own belts before they ask the people paying the taxes to further tighten theirs. I'll continue to advocate local government groups and business leaders like many of you to expand our commercial tax base. This is a tax base that can be more readily addressed. School funding is predicated on enrollment. We currently have 8% open classroom capacity and yet don't have an open enrollment policy. I'll push for open enrollment and enact cost adjustments to offset the cost of more students. We need to show results with what we've been given instead of threatening to take away services if we're not given more. Thank you.
Thank you. David Barrett.
So obviously public education, we're in a fight for a fair school funding formula. We need to be proactive and advocate at the state level. There's 600 school districts plus in the state of Ohio. I believe there's strength in numbers. The state seems to think that it's okay to push it back to the people that live in the communities. Obviously, we're not Jackson, we're not Green. We don't have the robust business that they have. So we need to try to advocate together and pressure at the state level. We also need to look at a way to explore other alternatives, whether it's grants, whether it's partnerships, whatever that might be. We need to be open-minded. To use the levy word as a last resort because people are tired of paying more, and I get it, but it's necessary to maintain some sort of consistency, so there has to be a meeting of the minds someplace, and I believe that we can actually do that and not sacrifice the educational advancement for our students.
Thank you. Adam, don't.
Yep, thank you. So I think, first of all, I have to take a position of we're not going to accept going backwards in this district, right? We have a great system. It has been built over multiple decades to get our students in a position and our staff in a position that can deliver a best-in-class education. So I think, one, as a community, we have to decide we're not going to step backwards, and then we have to look at ways that we can do the funding. What I will propose doing is what we're doing active right now, which is I think Dave's absolutely correct, strengthen numbers in the schools. So getting superintendents together, getting treasurers together, and going to meet with legislatures is the path forward. In fact, that's where Brett spent the last 2 days down in Columbus, meeting with state legislators to talk about this very issue. He actually testified in front of Congress about that, and we brought Nicole down as our treasurer to be able to speak the finances to the state so that we can influence state legislation and actually make a change. Under the current rules or the current law that's being pushed forward, Lake actually would not lose money, but other districts around the state will because of the way they do that formula. So it's unfair to everyone. That all being said, our responsibility is for Lake, and I want to make a very clear statement that we will not accept going backwards and giving our kids subpar education because we're afraid of a difficult conversation.
Thank you. Caitlin Spano.
I believe our district has done an amazing job with our finances. And our treasurer has won awards to prove that. We spend less money than the bottom third, right? As far as how much we spend per student based off of all of other schools in our areas. These times are so uncertain when it comes to state and federal funding and now with the new bills preventing certain levies. I understand property taxes are a struggle for some people in our district, and if we lose state and federal funding, it could potentially get worse. My job as a board member would be to advocate to our state and federal legislators not to cut funding. Public schools and public education will not survive if they continue to cut. We would need to emphasize to the state legislators that our accomplishments as a district within our budget should attest to the fact that we are fiscally responsible. I grew up with a parent in politics, and it's not an easy road, but I'm confident as a board we can come up with resolutions that work for everyone in our community. With the ever-changing laws and rules, we may need to start looking at other avenues of funding, which may include community business partnerships, grants, and other things that who knows at this point. Any options that we can take at this point, I think, is the road that we need to travel.
Thank you. Next question, we'll start with Caitlin Spano. These randomized numbers are generated by AI, so they must be true. What are your top 2 priorities for improving our school district, and what specific medical actions would you take to support each priority? For each action, please explain how you would track progress to ensure accountability while also maintaining respect for the superintendent's authority and overseeing the district's direction and operation.
I think my first priority would be to start working more closely with local government. I believe there is a lack of communication and coordination between the school district, the village of Hartville, the township, and Uniontown. Yet we all serve one community and one school district in the long run, and we need to work together as a collective whole to better our district and communities. We should be meeting with local legislators to discuss the issues and concerns. Our district depends on the people who live in our communities. We need to be aware of their plans for commercial and residential development and how that will affect our schools. We should also be working together to create spaces for our youth and our citizens. I have personal experience when it comes to this issue. Like I said, we've been on the football, baseball boards. That's a whole fight on its own. My second priority would be improving the financial transparency with the budget and spending accountability. I believe our treasurer is doing an amazing job. I think the public questions every dollar spent. Rightfully so, considering some of it is their tax dollars. Where it comes from, where it is spent, why and how it is spent. If we are able to disclose all of that information prior to spending, I think it would ease a lot of minds. While the superintendent oversees the day-to-day operations and even the communications with the district and community, the board's success can be measured with the accountability of the superintendent and the public's satisfaction with the superintendent and his communication.
Thank you. Adam Doan, same question to you.
Thank you. So the first priority, which is again something that we're actively working on right now, is communication. Again, broken record on this one here. I agree with other statements that we have to fine tune some of our communication to the community so that everybody understands it. I think we do some outstanding communication through Parent Square to parents, but outside of that, the messaging is not always received, especially to our members of the community that are retired and they simply don't get that interaction. So we have already reenacted kind of the office of or a communication lead within the district so that we can start to publish newsletters again and publish some of the information that the community is craving. So that's number one. That's already underway. The second one is continued expansion of our CCP, AP, and career tech programs. I've seen firsthand with my two oldest children that have gone through all the health tech. My son graduated from high school with 200 hours of shadowing in the medical field. That is unparalleled. We do neighboring districts, even private schools have nothing in comparison to this. And we're expanding even further for plumbing, for welding, for carpentry. So there's trade work that's being done because that's as important as some of the very specific academic paths. So those two things, communication and expansion of our vocational programs for our students.
Thank you. Nikki Johnson.
I found this question impossible to do in 90 seconds. So first, I'll just point you back to everything I've said previously about ideas related to the funding issues, and I'll just say, a key priority has to be strategic planning that includes fiscal responsibility and planning for future funding challenges. It's hard to imagine state and federal funding are ever going to get back to the levels we need and want them to be, and so good strategic and creative planning should be the goal for the school board going forward. My other key priority, like Adam, would be clear and consistent communication. 90% of interpersonal conflict stems from lack of or unclear communication. And there's research on that. Mr. Yeagley is already leading the way in modeling proactive communication, and I think the school board can build on this. I use my own networks and platforms to communicate the work of the board and to explain decisions as appropriate, since we know that in the absence of facts and real information, it's too easy to make assumptions, and then things blow up in ways that they really don't need to blow up in that kind of way. And that diverts attention away from the key thing, which is educating our kids. I'd like to see some more open forums for people to discuss issues and goals for the district. I think we could better encourage folks to get to board meetings and be involved, to learn and be involved, not only showing up when there's the issue, the hard stuff, although we also certainly need to invite broad participation and insight from the community in those cases as well. But I think that there's lots of areas where we could make small and big adjustments.
Good. Thank you. David Barrett.
So I'm going to go back to what I already talked about, maintaining our academic excellence. So I'm going to go back to what I already said. 10 years running, we're the best school district in Stark County. Numbers speak for themselves in a world where everything is based on numbers and performance. The people in the buildings are the ones that are working the magic. They're challenging our children. They're producing people that are actually prepared to go to college. We need to focus on the ones that are not going to go to college. Ones that are going to go in the military, or be a plumber, or be an electrician, auto mechanics, what that might be. We also need to do something for their well-being, which I mean their mental health and the safety of our schools is a prime concern. If you've watched TV lately, you understand where I'm going with this. Our resource officers continuing our education with our staff development in terms of training to be able to see something for you before something happens, because the last thing we want to do as a board, or be a board member, or be the board president or the superintendent, is actually having Channel 8 stick a mic in front of your face and say, what could you have done to prevent this from happening? It's the worst thing could ever happen here. That makes me mega focused in terms of, Brett has a plan, and he's on this, and financial transparency, obviously everyone's already stated it across the board, so we need to focus on that. I believe that streaming our school board meetings get people involved. They're able to not attend but actually be part of that process. Thank you.
Welcome. And finally, Jeff Finnefrock.
Two of my top priorities are safety and anti-bullying and open communication. These are fundamentals to my other priorities of excellence in learning and fiscal responsibility. I didn't hear the word bullying once tonight. Bullying's an issue at Lake. For safety and anti-bullying, there's already a measurable method that helps in behavioral standards called the PBIS program from the state of Ohio, and the current board has failed to ensure its compliance for the past 2 state report cards. Understanding why this happened and why ensure it won't happen again is the key. I've already developed a safety and anti-bullying program, which includes an open scorecard. It's on the state site. This framework policy has a heavy input, not just from the superintendent, but parents, teachers, principals, and the community. Children need to feel safe and focused to have an effective learning environment. My next priority is open communication. I'm glad to hear that we're talking about it now. Measurables will include open school board meetings with video and live chat. We've nothing to hide, and we're adults, and we can talk through issues that we disagree on. Measurables will be financial ledgers and ROI, and deadline tracking against major initiatives. We speak about respect for the authority of the superintendent, and while we do have a great one, to be clear, that we on the board, as well as the superintendent, are accountable to you. You're the voters, and most importantly, we're accountable to the students. You're the boss. In the past, this hierarchy, I don't know if people are confused about that, but as board members, we're representative government. We listen and represent your voice. I've already demonstrated this as my approach. Our ultimate measurable is being effective stewards of the tax dollars you've entrusted us with, and to be effective facilitators of the educations your children and grandchildren deserve.
Thank you. Our fifth question and final question before closing statements is Lake Local School District has an impressive track record of academic excellence, topping Starr County's performance index for
10 years.
earning national Blue Ribbon School Award for Lake Middle School in 2023 and achieving strong state report card ratings with high proficiency rates. As a school board member focused on governance and strategic oversight, what do you see as the district's two greatest strengths or opportunities given this? And for each, what policy or oversight action would you champion to build on that success? Starting with you, David.
So, academic excellence, I've preached it for 5 questions now. Continuing to go the direction we're going. Letting the subject matter experts in the buildings that are actually doing what they're doing to educate our children. We need to continue to focus on them. They're our true assets. They're our unsung heroes. There's teachers in the room, and I'm looking at you. I appreciate what you do every day. It makes a difference. I look at my children, how they are and how they act. I can never be any more thankful. If you're a teacher in this room, you need to be applauded. If you're part of the administrative team, you need to be applauded. We have the resources here. We have subject matter experts. We just need to maintain to do that. We need to continually to focus on areas where we can improve. If we were perfect, then we could stop trying to improve, but we'll always need to improve. We're dealing with people. Second thing is community engagement. Been sitting preaching this all night long. We need to be more transparent with the people that are sitting in the room. Obviously, you're the ones that actually are the ones that vote for us. We actually are the stakeholders to run the school system and hold our CEO, our treasurer, and our faculty and staff at hand. We need to make sure that we improve so that there's no misunderstandings where misinformation is given out during a lobby campaign, where there's bad information being generated. The more that we're aware of what's going on and transparent, the better off we are. Thank you.
And again, for clarity on the question, what do you see as the district's two greatest strengths or opportunities, and what oversight action would you use to champion and build on that success? Jeff Finnefrock.
I would say our pride and our educational excellence. To be clear, Lake is proud, but we also need to understand and have the pride in our institutions to know when we need to improve. So those are immediate opportunities. Other opportunities are broadening the aperture beyond our local and state measures to the global academic community. We need to aspire to the learning standards that our children will compete against globally. We need the humility to admit we can aspire to do more than we can do, and we can never rest on our laurels. Another opportunity is to ensure that students with learning differences, which again I didn't hear about tonight, 11% of our students get the needed support and services they deserve. I can assure you these children are dear to my heart, and they'll be at the front of my mind when we work to address learning at Lake. We need to ensure the processes of funding is adequate. For another subject I have not heard about, IEPs, WEPs, 504 plans. We need to connect what our children learn to why and how they're learning it. I've led consortiums between global companies and education institutions, and will bring this experience to further invest and grow our vocational and CCP programs, which need to deliver practical and applied learning for students beyond the classroom. Thank you.
Thank you. Caitlin Spano, what do you see as the district's two greatest strengths or opportunities?
This is when I struggled with hitting the 2 minutes or minute 90 seconds.
You just kind of
I think our number one strength is our excellent staff, administration, leadership, and their dedication to our students. It has taken determination and care of our staff, administrators, and leadership to get who are there every day teaching and caring for our children. They are the ones teaching our future generations. They are the ones caring for our children day in and day out. They are the ones who make Lake as great as it is. Without the right people in place, Lake wouldn't be the great place it is. I think our hiring procedures and oversight of the board have been phenomenal, and I would continue to support that. I want to hire the best that we can to build on this strength by increasing parent involvement with their child's education and better communication with parents and encouraging participation in learning. I think our second greatest strength is the opportunities that we have here for our students. We literally have something for everyone to be involved in. At Lake, we have chess club, robotics, sports with their partnership with the Y. We have youth sports, drama club, an amazing band program, orchestra, running club, Boy Scouts.
I appreciate the enthusiasm. Adam Jones, same question to you. What do you see as the district's two greatest strengths or opportunities?
Yeah, so thank you again. So first and foremost, the greatest strength across the whole district are our employees. And that's because our employees are the ones that are bringing everything to life, as David said, in the classroom and outside the classroom for the students there. And I guess I'll speak more to the track record. We were able to retain our treasurer. We were able to identify, acquire, and hire Brett as our superintendent. Great strengths, we got him there. Our teachers' contracts are good to go, and so we have stability in our employees that can then execute the job and get it done. And I think our 10 years in a row performance speaks to that. We do have PBIS programs in every single one of our buildings. They are outstanding programs, and the only reason that we are non-compliant is because we self-reported non-compliant. So I don't want that to be misconstrued in any way. The other side of this is we've gone from a 5-star to a 4.5-star. Guess what? Almost everyone did, because the scorecard changed in the system. So I would say the second thing to work on, make sure we keep our employees, make sure we have them educating our students, make sure we're taking care of them, and then clear this is a communication issue. So we're not getting that message out so that everybody is fully understanding where we are and what we're doing.
Thank you. Nikki Johnson.
So another quick preface. Years before I ever had a child step foot in Lake Schools, I knew what a great district my husband and I had fallen into. Because I saw at Mount Union, and I continue to see, how far better prepared my Lake students are, and I'm bar none. And they're better prepared for college. If that's the case, I can only assume they're better prepared to enter the workforce for those who don't go to college and choose to go into the workforce after graduation. They're better writers and speakers, better critical thinkers, and they're more resilient. They're leaders in the classroom and across campus year after year consistently. So, strength and opportunity. The greatest strength we have at Lake is our teachers and staff. As a faculty member myself, I know that I'm at my best when I have the resources and support I need to nurture the growth of each student in the way they need, and that's each student no matter what they bring. That includes decent compensation, yes, but it also includes time to do that work, a sense of belonging and community within the school system among colleagues. I'll support policies that empower our faculty and staff individually and collectively to do the real day in, day out work of educating our kids and to do so with excellence. An opportunity I see in our district, given recent events, is space to work even more deliberately to ensure that all of our students experience belonging. In higher ed, we know we retain students when they feel deep connection to the place, and that happens when they feel great connection to the people in the place. And that all connects back to the strength I just noted about the people we have. I see a great opportunity for us to double down on our belief that we are a welcoming community that values all children and believes that each child matters.
Thank you. We'll now do closing statements.
Just getting started.
Yeah, just getting started. We're warmed up. Closing statements in, again, random order, 1.5 minutes each, starting with Caitlin Spano.
I guess I'm going to continue with where I left off a little bit, because I think that Lake is great. I really do. We choose to send our children here, and obviously many of you do too. Like I said, there's something for all of our children here. along with all of the other things, all of the programs. I think that we need to promote all these programs for our children to have something that they can enjoy, something that they can build on their opportunities to learn, not just the facts, but real life experiences. We already have an amazing CCP program which prepares our students for college, but we can expand on that, and these programs can help our students prepare for trade schools, partnerships, businesses, and life in general. I'm here to support the teachers, I'm here to support the students, and I'm here to listen to you. I'm a mom. I'm in the schools. I try to be as involved as I possibly can in everything that I do. I have my own business. I try to do it all, and I feel like this is what I need to do for my kids.
Thank you. Jeff Pennerbrook.
I want to thank you for the time tonight. I want to thank you to the Chamber. Thank you to Chip for putting this together. I want to acknowledge the other candidates for their willingness to serve. This isn't easy. I would kindly ask you for consideration for your vote. You can find more on my policies at jeffvennerfrock.com. I've seen a need here at Lake. I believe it's time for a perspective to address them. I've helped organizations understand where they are, where they want to go, and define plans on how to get there. I'll do the same for Lake. Since July 1st, I've walked the streets of Lake Township knocking on hundreds of your doors. I've met and listened to you, and more importantly, I had a dialogue. I will represent you. I will be your voice on the school board. You will not need to question if you've been heard. This is not a question of placards or platitudes or promises, but one of being a surrogate, providing safety and civility, ensuring sound stewardship of your tax dollars. If elected, I'll apply my unique skills to address the challenges our children and their schools face, which I have outlined tonight. These are your children's and grandchildren's schools. These are our taxpayers' schools. And these are our future leaders' schools. Success is our only option. Thank you.
Thank you. Adam Jones.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate everybody's time this evening. I'm going to leave you with kind of two slogans, if you will. The first one is God, family, country, community. Okay? And some of you that have heard me speak or saw anything online, this is how I live my life. It's how I incorporate those values into even the school board, because I take it very, very seriously. You know, my children are here, your children are here, the community is here, and that's the kind of passion that I'll bring for another term, hopefully. I hope my track record of the last 5 years has stood on its own. Encourage you to also have more conversations with me so that we can continue this dialogue. And the second thing, I'll steal this from Brett Yeagley, our superintendent, but it's every child, every minute, every day. That's the motto that he brought in. Deb's wearing a shirt right now with it on there. And that attitude is the kind of leadership that we have instilled into this district and that we want to continue along. So I would ask for your vote so I can be reelected to the board. I'll carry that passion of my values forward and enact the every child, every minute, every day for it to be a Lake. Thank you.
Thank you. Nikki Johnson.
I have nothing that nicely prepared. I hope my experience and values have come through in what I have talked about tonight. I always invite questions and feedback about my background, my candidacy, my views about things. I've had a lot of folks email me, call me. I've responded to every single one of those requests for information, even when the questions have been hard and I haven't had any idea how the person asking the question wanted me to respond. I'm not afraid of hard conversations. I've made a career of bridging gaps between people who see themselves very much on the opposite side of things, and consider myself a peacemaker in that sense, but not in the sense of glossing over things, in the sense of really digging in and trying to understand other people's perspectives and recognizing that we're better with the difference, we're better together with the differences that we bring to the table. And the only thing I'll say is just once again, you have 5 people who are bringing very different perspectives and gifts and skills to the work. I'm the only educator, full-time educator, that's running for the Board of Education, and I think it's important to have people who have some of that experience in their background and to be able to bring that forward to the work of the school board. So, given my experience, my long-standing commitment to education, I ask for your vote on November 4th.
Thank you. David Barrett.
So what I'll say is, obviously I'm probably the second oldest board member, so what I bring is experience to the board. I'm kind of the quiet guy. I try to sit and listen, my life is going like 45 miles an hour to where when I had kids in the schools, it was 75 miles an hour. If you had kids, you understand how fast life has went by. So now I have time to reflect. My commitment is, I'm at the end of the road. My kids are no longer in the school. I believe that someone was actually doing that job when I was going 75 miles an hour. And now I believe at 45 miles an hour, I can focus on the things that are important. The well-being of our children, they're our greatest asset. I would take care of someone else's kids in the same as I would take care of my own children. We owe that. That's our legacy. As a board member, I've never taken it for granted. It's probably the biggest privilege, professionally or privately, in my life. I take great pride in doing that. I thank my board members. I trust their wisdom and their knowledge. I wish I could keep them all where they're at, but that's not the way that this thing works. I ask for your vote on November 4th. I do listen. You might not get the answer you're looking for, but I do listen. So I thank you for your time tonight, and I ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give our candidates a round of applause. Thank each of you for attending the forum this evening. Thank you for respecting the time. It gave everybody equal time that way. Thank you, audience, for cooperating and staying quiet so the recording was not interrupted. We appreciate it. On behalf of Lake Township Chamber of Commerce, have a good night. And please, I'm sure the candidates are going to linger for a little time if you'd like to have some one-on-one conversation.
And we're trapped here.
And they're trapped.
So we can't get
Thank you.